We are both white women. We are inherently a danger in spaces for Black, Indigenous, and other people of color simply by existing.
It's white cis men who are a part of the far right-winged ideology of fascism. That is a true threat and the terrorism to this country.
If BIPOC stand in the street and scream at the top of their lungs, I hate all white people, I want all white people to go die white devil, you cracker bitch, that's still not racism.
Let's talk about what we're doing to white people. There's been something going on for a while now that we're being told not to notice. More to the point, that we're asking white people not only to ignore, but to accept. The rising tide of racial hatred against white people. In the past decade, there has been a noticeable cultural shift in what constitutes acceptable speech as it relates to white people. Back when I was a kid, in the early 2000s, the mainstream American culture preached about respecting each other's differences and not seeing color. Nowadays, we say that not seeing color is racism, that you must see color. But the more I see how things are unfolding, the more I'm convinced that this is wrong.
Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. In case you're new here, my name is Maren.
And I'm Maureen.
Right, so in today's episode, we're going to be reacting to a video we found on the internet titled, "What Are We Doing to White People?"
Right, and this video went quite viral. As we speak right now, it's got 4.9 million views, and it was of a Chinese American man who was asking his audience, what are we doing to white America, you know.
Right.
And you know, when we saw this title, I was also intrigued to know what white America are going through, and if they're going through it, by whose hands are they going through whatever they're going through.
Right, some of you might have come across this video, but if it's your first time to watch it, let us know, all of you, let us know what you think about this video in the comment section. Also remember to subscribe if it's your first time here, right? But let's watch first and then we come back and talk about it.
Back then, saying something offhanded about white people were seen as not appropriate, just as it would be to say something offhanded about people of any other race. But that soon gave way to our current times, in which there exists virtually no limit to what racial minorities can and do say about white people. I believe this is the natural outgrowth of a perverse ideology that teaches us that every societal ill is the fault of white people, and that whatever prejudice acts we may inflict upon them does not constitute discrimination because we don't have the power to discriminate. And alarmingly, this is particularly pronounced in the younger generation. But is it true? Do we not have the power to discriminate? Well, let's see. First, let's take a look at the racial hatred at the interpersonal level. In today's society, it has become somewhat fashionable to think things and say things about and to white people that would not be acceptable if it was said about any other race. And we're being taught that this double standard is not wrong, that it is rather a form of empowerment. They'll attribute negative experiences that they've had with white people to their whiteness. You had an argument in line at the grocery store with a white person? They were acting entitled because they were white. A white driver cut you off when you were driving? They need to check their white privilege. Your actions, your conduct, and your existence, in other words, boil down to your whiteness. And ashamedly, at one point in time, this was how I used to think as well. And beyond the people in my circle, I noticed that many people of color have this sort of blasé attitude. An attitude most particularly pronounced when there are no other white people around. Things are being said not just behind closed doors, but out in the open. Not just between close friends, but between complete strangers. So here's the thing. This is something that I've experienced countless times, so I know that there are other people who are experiencing it too. I know it must resonate with at least some of you. The difficulty here is that no matter how many anecdotes I share, they are just that, anecdotes. And people who refuse to believe that this is happening will just chalk it up to my experiences being a fluke. Or worse yet, they'll say I'm lying. So I've compiled some TikTok videos. I want you to take a look at the things that are being said about white people, especially by the younger generation, the kind of statements people wouldn't dare say about people of any other race. Take a look at what is stunningly in vogue in today's society, and ask yourselves, where does this lead to years down the line?
You have a token white, and you're hanging out with your friend group of color. You need to ask permission from everybody in the group to bring your white friend. Don't let them think they're a good white person.
Accomplices ask, how can they support Black and Indigenous people of color? And sometimes I really don't know what to say, but here's one easy way. Just don't have babies.
Women can single-handedly cause the white genocide that they are so afraid of. With 2.25 billion Asian women and 500 million white men, baby, it'll only take 2 generations. In 2 generations, there will no longer be any blonde-haired.
These are some things I noticed about white American culture. Being grounded is a punishment to them. That's what they call punishment. The least grounded, least balanced, most destructive race considers being grounded a punishment? Yeah. They also say really violent phrases. Like they say things like, kill two birds with one stone. Why do we have to kill the birds? Why is everything so violent? It's almost like one's language and phrases reflects one's nature.
So that new Jeffrey Dahmer movie on Netflix is the perfect example of the sensationalization of white violence. People have a much easier time sympathizing with white criminals than they do with black victims. People think these shows are harmless, but they actually contribute to a much bigger issue. It contributes to the viewpoint that white people are less violent than everyone else, and white violence is something to be consumed in media, and that's it.
What is with Caucasian people and like their inability to like read a fucking room? Like, y'all act like you don't understand shit because y'all be the first ones during a conversation about the Holocaust to get so mad when black people be like, you do realize that the original Jewish people were black, right? White people do not need to explain to anybody about us all bleeding red because, baby, you all are the people that need to learn that lesson. Clearly, history shows that you all are the people that like to pillage and eradicate, enslave and oppress, attempt to suppress greatness because you all simply don't have it.
Right? Here go y'all cum goblins who don't even live in the fucking city. Which, by the way, the Q-tip people are the last ones to ever talk about somebody stealing anything. Y'all wouldn't be in this country had it not been for y'all stealing it. So y'all are more focused on people looting and trying to get necessities and things that they need. And yes, a TV is a fucking necessity thing. But you feel like you're better than because people are out here stealing and you would never. First of all, if you are a Mayo monster, that is how your ancestors got everything, from stealing. People are,
And that's a behavior that's very common among white women. You may have not intended that, but there are many white women who act exactly like you.
If you can find it in your heart this holiday season to donate to the Discriminated White Fund, you'd be helping millions.
Nothing says high protein like cicadas and cheese. Make sure you...
And nothing says caucasity like that right there.
What caucasity looks like. Roaming Asian grocery stores like it's an amusement park.
Explain to me why white people don't wear shoes outdoor, but wear shoes inside.
You're not one of the good white people. Stop separating us from the bad white people. Don't sit out there in comments and say, we don't claim them. We are them. We are the ones shooting up schools. We are the ones raping people, the ones enslaving people.
And I'll say it. I hate being white. Which means I'm one of the good ones.
All white people are inherently racist.
Yes.
Can you be racist against white people?
Based off of the definition of racism, yes, but it's not gonna hurt them and hurt their opportunities like it does people of color.
While technically you can, it's not like an issue.
You can't oppress the oppressor.
It helps you sleep at night. I'm racist to white people and I'm proud of it. Why do people not understand that you can't be racist to white people? It's impossible. The system is not set up that way. You can insult white people, but it is not racism. Me calling a white person a tub of mayonnaise and a flower looking ass, that's not racist.
You went all the way to Africa to physically take black people from their homes, shove them in on boats where a lot of them got diseases and died, told them where they could sit on a bus, told them which schools they could go to, which water fountains they could use, which bathrooms they could use, and that's sugarcoating it. Those are just terms. I'm not even describing all the disgusting things that happen, and they don't even want revenge. They are letting you guys skate by asking for equal rights. That's it? And you're still saying no? They are not as angry as they should be. Y'all are getting off easy and you're still saying no? Fuck you.
Some people look at that and chalk it up to the grumblings of the powerless. That's the idea that when you have a power disparity, the less powerful sort of has this general society given leeway to complain about the more powerful. The villagers complaining about their king doesn't have the same ring as the king making snide and crude comments about the villagers. But that's not what's going on here. Because although certain segments of our society refuse to believe this, even as evidence mount before our very eyes, in one side of the political aisle, people of color actually have greater power than white people. That is the truth that is not being acknowledged by the people that need to hear it, because this gets in the way of them wielding that power in the way they want, malignantly. I've heard from somewhere that politics is downstream of culture, and I think that is certainly correct. We have a mainstream culture that tells us it's okay to hold prejudice and hateful view of white people, and our politics is then infused with this energy, and we see active, overt, and on-the-books racial discrimination of white people that those who are perpetuating this hatred is refusing to see as discrimination. They'll say, no, this is remediation. These are the same people who are making tenuous arguments that some of our race-neutral laws discriminate against people of color. And this is certainly evidence that in one side of the political aisle, people of color have more power than white people. Because if we didn't have the power, we wouldn't be able to put into place practices and policies that does this. That's what power is. Things like Minneapolis local government agreeing to a contract with the teachers union that says white teachers must be fired first. New York City's government enacting a policy of having white seniors go to the back of the line on life-saving COVID treatment. A college professor that says white people should be killed and facing no repercussions. Cornell University banning white people from rock climbing lessons. One of many instances of liberal colleges doing the utmost to exclude and ostracize white students. BIPOC-only events equal no whites, but they don't have the guts to say that, even though that is what that is. That's what makes us different than the mere grumblings of the common villager. The villagers have surrounded the palace, demanding Marie Antoinette's head. The power dynamics have shifted. That is a fact. Progressive media outlets do not cover these stories. Some people out there have no idea that this is going on. But worse, some others out there know but agree with what's going on. And for those people to convince themselves that this is not racial discrimination, they play mind tricks and word games. They use phrases and talking points like punching up. You can't be racist to white people. You can't oppress the oppressor, meaning I'm acting oppressively, but I've designated you as the oppressor, so everything goes. Or Ibram X. Kendi's infamous words, the only way to remedy past discrimination is current discrimination. Or when people say things like, what we're doing to white people is not racism because racism is prejudice plus power and we don't have the power. They use all this mind-bending apparatus to delude themselves into believing what they're doing faces no moral quandary. But in the back of their minds, perhaps in their subconscious minds, is racial revenge.
So guys, welcome back. Let us know what you think about this episode in the comment section. And if I may say, Maureen, I think I do understand what the Asian guy is saying. I really do understand what he's saying. And the question is, we have to ask ourselves, right? How did we get to this point we are at right now? Because even the examples he cited, you know, when you talk about the people who really can be extreme, and you're like, when some people are trying to communicate their message, yeah, there's some things that people might say that might come off wrongly. No, I feel like, I don't know, if you have, when you have one group of people that have been affected so much by the beginning of race and where it began, which is by the hands of these palm-colored people, I feel like it's so hard for me to sympathize with them. Being some of the people he played on his clips were saying that even if they experience racism, that racism won't get in their way of getting a job. That racism won't affect their way of living. They still get to enjoy their privileges. I feel like that is why, I don't know, to some extent, I'm still not ready yet to sympathize with what he's saying or with the palm-colored people. It might come off wrong for me to say that, but it's just what I'm feeling. Yeah, guys, have you ever heard about the saying, if you make your bed, you might as well lay in it? This is just the beginning of them reaping the consequences of their actions, even if they might try to say that it is quite unfair of other racial groups to be treating them like this. Some of their people in their own groups are still treating black people and other minorities the way they were, you know, with the amount of discrimination. Yeah, but you know, the sad thing is that, you know, there's a saying that it's normally said here in Africa, in Kenya, that when I translate it, it says, a rat's trap catches everybody, all who are innocent or guilty. Yeah, a rat's trap catches all. Mtego wa panya hushika waliokuwemo na wasiokuwemo. Meaning, if there's one rat amongst many rats, and this one rat keeps going to steal in a house, and that house, the other rats don't steal, they just sleep there. When that trap is set by the owner of the house, it will catch even the ones that only sleep there but don't steal from that house. Meaning, this trap that has started catching the
let's not call it a
racist
trap, rather let's just call it consequences
it is just of their own making. Yeah, I really want to sympathize with what the guy is saying, but I feel like I can't. I'm still not ready. Not that I can't, I'm still not ready. Until on their side, they change a lot of the policies that still affect minority groups like the Black Americans and people of color. I'm still not sympathizing with them. They can do more. Because Maureen, you remember, it's just the other day we were doing an episode where a palm-colored man was trying, of which it was courageous of him because he outed his own people. He came out and he was trying to explain and to expose the reason why palm-colored people don't defend black people is because they fear the repercussions. You know, and you're like, if palm-colored people, they're those ones who want to speak up and also do the right thing, but they're those who to this day cannot speak up because they fear they're in fear of being ostracized, and they're in fear of being treated the way the black people are treated. Should they come out in defense of black people, you're like, what is that they've put in place that even makes their own people be afraid of speaking up against what is wrong, you know? So generally I say the world still has a lot of work to be done. And is there racism on all sides? Yes, but the effects are not the same, you know. Racism from a palm population is different from racism from other minority populations, and until these systemic hindrances that have been put in place to deter other people from growing, until they are made to be equal across all racial groups, nobody can say that, because you know they're crying that their own people have started being feeling the effects of racism. Black people and people of color have been feeling it from way back. And they're still feeling it until now. Yeah, another point I wanted to put across is that, you know, I do believe that the way to reconciliation is when somebody has to sit down and tell you, because sometimes people, let's just say for the sake of moving this conversation forward, right? Sometimes when you sit down with someone who's wronged you, there's one who will truly acknowledge their mistake. There's another type who might not remember what they did or the kind of impact it did to you. And there's the type who will pretend it never happened and won't ever want to acknowledge it. Instead, they will just want to move on from where exactly. So why am I bringing this scenario is because let's talk about reparations, right? The black community has been crying reparations for how long? And you see the kind of treatment, they don't even want to acknowledge them, you understand? And when you look to other groups who've been paid reparations, you ask yourself, why is it that reparations is more important to other group of people, and when it comes to black people, that is where they draw the line, you understand? So I do feel like sad as it is, this will keep being the same. It will keep being the same for as long as some people cannot move forward to acknowledge their mistakes and the role they played because even politicians becoming what it is right now. Exactly, even politicians, if you look at how Donald Trump won his election when he was becoming president, and the groups that felt it like, they felt like it was okay for them to come forward and act racist, just because they had a president who could freely speak up his mind, So you ask yourself, yeah, it's okay to sympathize with the palm-colored people, but then again, to what extent? To what extent? Because just the moment that you want to give them the benefit of the doubt, situations like the video that has been trending of the boy who was followed by a predominantly white neighborhood, followed for walking for, he almost got in trouble for walking while being black, you understand? And you're like, okay, would you blame somebody, a person of color or a black person, for coming out and saying they were racist? Would you blame them? Because other people, I've seen a lot of channels actually cover that the video, and some people didn't look at it the way, let's just say people had different perspective, and some people were calling this boy a criminal. And you know, when the lady said that the boy, when that neighbor said that he walked 4 times past his house, so he became suspicious, and that is why he started questioning the boy. But the place where such channels fail to mention is because they're trying to make him look like a criminal. Where they're failing to mention is the man asked the boy at the beginning of the video, he asked, why are you walking around here? And the boy clearly stated, I belong in the neighborhood, meaning he lives there, right? But they still went on ahead and harassed him. But that is the part where this channel selectively don't mention, you understand?
Not this channel, but channels on YouTube,
right? So I say, for as long as mistrust continue being amongst, because historically there's a lot of events that have perpetuated and have led situations to get to where it is right now.
And right now, even if you're trying to disarm black people and people of color into not being racist, are you doing the same advocacy on the palm colored
side and talking to them, asking them to stop discriminating other groups?
And let's just say, okay, these other groups stop. What's to say when we turn our backs, the same palm colored people won't come and stab us in the back again? Because there was even a video where an white activist was asking black people, why are you guys so nice? There is your nice nature is the reason why you were colonized and you were put into slavery in the first place. Why are you so nice to us and we are not the same to you guys? So guys, let us know what you think about this episode, and please leave us a comment, and also consider subscribing if you're new to this channel, and we'll see you on our next episode.
Right, remember to be respectful in the comment section. Some people have been complaining by the way that we are deleting their comments, but we want to make it clear that we don't. All comments are welcomed, positive, negative, and the in-between.
The abuses.
Be respectful so that YouTube does not delete your channel. Let's catch you on our next episode.